which brings us to today's event. Realizing the need for change is vital, but honoring time-tested traditions is just as vital. As always, we begin today's proceedings with the traditional lighting of the young lamp, signifying blessings for a prosperous future. So for this, I would like to very cordially invite Honorable Mahindra Madavira, Minister of Agriculture and Plantation Industries, Honorable Mohan Priyadarshana de Silva, State Minister of Agriculture, Honorable D.B. Hera, State Minister of Livestock Development, Mr. Janaka Dharmakirti, Secretary to the Ministry of Agriculture, Ms. Yamuna Pereira, Secretary to the Ministry of Women and Children's Affairs, Dr. Dhanan Senadiraja, National Director, World Vision Lanka, and Dr. G.G. Bandula, Director of the Hector Kovacador Agrarian Research and Training Institute. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please be seated. Established in 1972, at a time when the attention of the scientific community was focused on agriculture, economic, and institutional, equal attention for such technological advances were to and consumers alike in the long term, the Hector Kovacador Agrarian Research and Training Institute was established in order to generate long-term policy and policy analysis, which would cover these key determinants of human and resource development in the agrarian sector of Sri Lanka. Today, they are Sri Lanka's leading agriculture policy research institute. It is their invaluable contribution, their diligent efforts and expertise that has derived such important welcome this gathering.
Honorable Minister, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, everyone. Very warm welcome to the policy dialogue on climate resilience in the Right Zone of Sri Lanka, collaboratively organized by World Vision Lanka Organization and Hector Kovacador Agrarian Research and Training Institute. It is truly an honor to stand before you today as we gather to discuss such a crucial and very important topic today. On behalf of Party and World Vision Lanka Organization, it is my distinct honor and privilege to extend a heartfelt welcome to our esteemed chief guest, Honorable Mahindra Madavira, Minister of Agriculture and Plantation Industry. Dear sir, your presence here today is underscores the importance and urgency of the issues we are addressing. Thank you for gracing us with your presence. I also warmly welcome Honorable Mohan Priyadarshana Silva, the State Minister of Agriculture, and Honorable D.D. Hera, State of Development. Your presence at this esteemed forum, despite your demanding schedules, is truly inspiring. I also warmly welcome Your Excellencies, ambassadors, high consuls, representatives from diplomatic missions who are here today. I would like to take this opportunity to express my sincere gratitude to you and your mission for the ongoing assistance provided towards climate change initiative in Sri Lanka. Your support is greatly appreciated and crucial in our collective efforts to address this pressing issue, which is much more needed at present. I extend a warm welcome to my Secretary to the Ministry of Agriculture and Plantation Industries, Mr. Lanka Dharmakirti. Dear sir, your presence here today is truly appreciated. It is my pleasure to welcome all the additional secretaries and senior officers from the ministries, chairmen, director generals, commissioner generals of various departments and institutions, directors, divisional secretaries, and other regional divisional level officers, as well as all the representatives from government and non-government institutions. A special welcome goes out to the representatives from the organizations affiliated with the United Nations and officers and development practitioners from government, non-governmental organizations. Furthermore, I extend a warm welcome to academics and researchers representing different universities and research institutes, especially those who are offering their expertise in this event, being a moderators and panel members in this dialogue. Your presence here today is much more important to get your valuable inputs and insights in this regard. I extend a heartfelt welcome to the National Director of World Vision Lanka, Dr. Danat Semanaraja, and the senior officers of the World Vision Lanka organization. I seize this opportunity to express my heartfelt gratitude to World Vision Lanka for entrusting Hartik with the responsibility to conduct this research study and for organizing this immensely important event today with us. Your partnership and support are invaluable in our collective efforts to address critical issues related to climate change and its impacts. Additionally, I extend my welcome to the participants associated with World Vision International who are joining with us via Zoom today. A warm welcome is also extended to reporters and media personnel from local and international media institutes. Your cooperation is giving wider publicity to this event is greatly appreciated, and it will certainly yield productive outcome in our efforts to combat the impacts of climate change. Finally, I extend a warm welcome to the officers and staff of my institute, HEART. I also take this opportunity to thank my research team who conducted this valuable, timely, important study. I really appreciate your hard work, commitment, and dedication in this regard. I am optimistic that this esteemed forum will facilitate a fruitful policy level dialogue today, focusing on identifying avenues to mitigate the impacts of climate change on the most vulnerable groups in the agricultural sector, especially in the dry zone of Sri Lanka. Together, through collaboration and informed discussions, we can work towards sustainable solutions for the challenges ahead. I strongly believe that as professionals, we have the responsibility and accountability to do so. I wish a very productive and fruitful forum. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bandula. Ladies and gentlemen, climate change has forever changed the trajectory of the world, and we need to adapt to it. Mapping how climate change affects the agrarian sector is vital to comprehending how we should move forward, which is why research such as the one that is being disseminated here today is key to unraveling climate change. to answering the question of how better to adapt novel farming techniques to help the most vulnerable and marginalized of Sri Lanka's agrarian communities. So over the past 2 years, researchers have been diligently working on this project, examining the impacts of climate change and the adaptation of strategies of the farming communities in the dry zone of Sri Lanka. Through extensive fieldwork, data collection and analysis conducted by the research team at the Hector Kovakadu Institute, or HATI, together with the collaborative efforts of the research and technical advisors of World Vision Lanka, the teams have delved into the challenges faced by the vulnerable groups of these dry zone regions and identified innovative farming practices that can enhance climate adaptation strategies. Ladies and gentlemen, to introduce today's program, therefore, to you in greater detail, please welcome Mr. Chintaka Jayasuriya, Senior Researcher, Education and Training Division of Hector Kovakadu Agrarian and Research and Training Institute.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone, distinguished visitors and ladies and gentlemen. Now, my duty is here today to brief you about what has happened behind the picture, behind the scene today. So, what path we followed, what we have done during the past 2 years, and of course, followed by the objective of this today's event. So all these started in somewhere around November 2021 when we started this research work in collaboration with World Vision Lanka Institute. So they interested us and we started together this very valuable event. Oh, this was a research study. So aim of the study was to identify the vulnerabilities of these farming communities, especially the marginalized farming communities in the horizon of Sri Lanka, and understand what practices are they have been adapting to get rid of this marginalized situation, and what are the special requirements or the remedial actions that is to be placed in the future to reduce the vulnerability of this community and to enhance the resilience to the climate adaptive or climate initiative impacts. So that this fieldwork was started in November 2021, as I said before, and then as the first action, we wanted to set the boundaries for this event. So we conducted the scoping event. The scoping event was to scope in terms of geographical locations, in terms of variables and things to be studied, and in terms of the policy directions to be mentioned in the future. So that at that time, we invited all the relative or the relevant institutes, especially the agriculture ministries as ministry and relevant institutes who are working in this diverse farming community, and then Ministry of Health, Ministry of Child and Women Affairs, and then especially the nutrition unit and things like that. Because this event or this study, although it's mentioned as rice on farmer, the main within that main focus, we also wanted to focus on the women and child as most vulnerable community subgroups within this rice on farmers. So that because of that, so we invited those relevant institutes and also the disaster preparedness institutes working in disaster preparedness sector. So the national level institutes and the regional level institutes were also invited to that particular scoping event. By the time the World Vision Lanka is called for interest, these geographical locations were set. In terms of climate vulnerability, they have selected 4 districts, namely Hambantota, Monragala, Kilnochi, and Batiklo, so that the main geographical locations were set. But within that scoping event, we identified the most vulnerable or most critical locations from that place as well, and what are the variables that we should iron out during the survey to extract the critical information regarding these vulnerable communities. So after that scoping event, the objectives and the scope of the study was set, and then the field work started. Primary data collection was conducted in 2 rounds to catch the situation of 2022 and 2021 Maha season and 2022 Yala season. So within those two survey rounds, we collected data from the selected farming representatives or the household representatives of this community. Those primary data was collected via pre-tested questionnaire, and apart from that questionnaire, in addition to that questionnaire, we also collect data from key informant interviews with these very interested institutes or the institutes who are working in relation to the climate adaptation, especially from these regional or the selected areas, and also from the national level institutes. And also we conducted a focus group discussion of these particular locations, especially from GN region level, Grama region levels, in order to capture more information instead of or in addition to the questionnaires. So likewise, the primary data were collected, and then these data analyzed and reports were produced. Draft reports were submitted to the Coalition Lanka, and after a couple of sessions of back and forth feedbacks and improvement, we during the last month we were able to conduct the third session of this particular study. That was a community dissemination events. So we wanted to share this knowledge and the findings that we gained through this particular study with the respective representatives or our main representatives of the data collection. With those representatives. So in order to do that, we went to the those locations, that is Amadura, Mondragala, Kinochi and Radiclo. We conducted 5 community dissemination sessions. We united all the farmers and regional level officers and the grassroots level officers who are working in these communities at these locations. So we share these findings of the research with them, and it also help us to further enrich our research findings from the feedback that we gained from those 5 community dissemination events conducted in 5 locations. Because although there were 4 locations or 4 districts, we conducted 5 locations in order to facilitate the logistic issues, especially in the Mondragala district, because 2 locations were selected were very far away. Therefore, we wanted to provide the farmers with easy access. So we conducted 2 community sessions over Mondragala district. After all those efforts, now today's event is conducting to further elaborate on this topic and to understand what are the further actions that we require to ensure the climate adaptive practices are being placed at right time on a right community at right level. So we wanted to share these findings and also the policy directives with high officials, high-level officials in government sector, and also representatives from NGO sector and UN agencies and academias who are working in relation to the climate adaptation field. So today's event, before main objective is to discuss further improvement in terms of policy directions. At the end of the day, we will be expecting this event and all the important insights provided by you to the today's event will be helpful to increase the resilience of these vulnerable farming communities, and together as a community or as a country, we will be able to withstand these unprecedented impacts provided from unprecedented impacts provided from these climate change into this farming community. So that I invite all of you to actively participate in today's event, and we will discuss how we have in detail in the presentation we will discuss how we have done this one, and then what are provide some policy guidance. But there is a panel today with expert of these particular fields. So we are selecting 4 particular sub themes. So according to those sub themes, there are panelists. They will after our presentation, they will take over the sessions and they will further discuss what are the policy gaps and what should be took place in the future action plans or future strategic plans in order to reduce this climate vulnerability in these marginal communities and altogether at the end of the day to enhance the resilience of this particular farming community. So with that, I think I should hand over to the organizers. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Jasuri. I want to draw your attention that he mentioned in his speech. He said we have to provide help at the right time, at the right level. Because, ladies and gentlemen, climate change is here, it is not going anywhere, and we have an objective duty to help fellow mankind. As Mr. Jasuri mentioned in his speech, since November of 2022, I believe, 2021, since November of 2021, the researchers at Harty have been hard at work examining and researching the climate change effects and the adaptations that farmers have made to their farming practices given climate change and its effects. So I would like to direct your attention now to the screens so that you may take a look for yourselves the work that has gone into today's event.
In the dry zone of Sri Lanka, the resilient spirit of its people shines through amidst the innumerable challenges posed by persistent adverse effects of climate change. This commitment to a resilient way of life, capable of withstanding climate shocks, is particularly admirable as vulnerable and marginalized groups, including women, children, and those with disabilities, bear a disproportionate burden. Despite their limited capacity to combat these effects, surrendering to the challenges is not an option. To delve into the intricacies of this resilience and adaptation, World Vision Lanka and the Hector Kabakarawa Agrarian Research and Training Institute collaborated on a study across 4 districts in the dry zone of Sri Lanka. The study aimed to explore the adaptability of vulnerable groups to climate change and examine farming practices tailored to cope with the challenges posed by these conditions. The daily lives of the people in Kilanachi, Banikaloa, Monaragala, and Hambantota districts showcase a heightened impact from climate change, variations in climate patterns, and extreme weather events. While these areas are naturally predisposed to dry weather conditions, the intensity of prolonged dry spells, high temperature, and unpredictable rainfall has amplified over the past few decades. Communities grapple with challenges such as drought, water scarcity, high soil salinity, crop damage, and erratic weather patterns. Despite being cognizant of these problems, a substantial number of individuals in these communities do not fully comprehend that climate change underlies the root causes of these challenges. A significant portion of the population in the dry zone is engaged in livelihoods sensitive to climate conditions. Ongoing climate changes have a continuous impact on their means of earning a living. Male residents often seek employment elsewhere due to increasing threats to agriculture-related economic activities. However, opportunities for women to participate in income-earning activities outside their villages are limited due to household chores. Daily routines of rural households, particularly women and children, bear a significant brunt due to climate change. Despite substantial contributions to agriculture, women remain underrepresented in decision-making roles, and their economic contributions go largely unrecognized and unevaluated. Climate change repercussions extend to children's education, negatively impacting school attendance during extreme weather conditions. Scarcity of water adversely affects daily life and agricultural activities, posing a significant challenge for residents, especially housewives responsible for water security. Despite facing numerous challenges, these communities persist with resilience and hope. While there are opportunities for high-earning avenues, both on-farm and non-farm, the establishment of a support system is crucial to assist these communities in initiating and successfully implementing such activities, while addressing existing issues and shortcomings. Efforts to uphold food security amid the nation's economic crisis are prevalent across the 4 districts. Scarcity of food and water in surrounding forest areas leads to wildlife venturing into villages, causing damage to crops. This poses a significant threat to local communities' efforts to secure their food supply, affecting farm income. Despite challenges in earning a living, individuals aware of current weather and climate conditions actively seek alternatives and solutions. Farmers initiate effective resource management and adopt climate-adaptive farming practices to minimize climate risks on their livelihoods. Initiating land preparation with the onset of rainfall is a viable measure to prevent potential crop damage due to water scarcity. This approach conserves water in minor irrigation systems, allowing saved water to be utilized in the following season. Farmers increasingly adopt the cultivation of annual seasons to adapt to the current climate. In Batticaloa, a noteworthy climate-adapted farming technique involves cultivating perennial high-value crops like pomegranates, instead of seasonal vegetable crops. In Kilinachi, farmers have shifted to commercial cultivation of cassava and morina due to their lower water requirements. Aloe vera is also popular for its greater drought tolerance. However, challenges related to the lack of a consistent market for agricultural products persist, necessitating to enhance the efficiency of the marketing system. Lowlands, high soil, water-saving methods include small water ponds, known as pathas or kulam, established in Hambantota and Kilinachi, water for crop cultivation and animal husbandry. Rainwater harvesting devices, though underutilized, offer potential for storing and conserving water. Traditional methods, like the Bethma system in Hambantota and Monoragala, fairly share limited water resources in minor irrigation systems during dry Yala seasons. Adaptation strategies extend to animal husbandry, prevalent in all 4 districts. Cattle rearing is common, and goat farming thrives in Batticaloa and Kilinachi. Maintaining a limited number of crossbred milking cattle proves successful in the face of climate impacts. Backyard poultry rearing, especially in Batticaloa and Kilinachi, addresses household protein requirements with thoughtful approaches considering local climate challenges. Financial support through credit, especially agricultural loans, plays a crucial role in overcoming challenges posed by climate-related events. Both men and women access loans in similar proportions, highlighting the significance of credit in overcoming climate challenges. This is the untold story of those grappling with the consequences is to adapt and confront climate change. These individuals are striving to safeguard their livelihoods and instigate positive change in their lives through adaptation efforts. The study underscores the importance of recognizing and supporting these resilient communities as they navigate the complex interplay of climate challenges and adaptation strategies in the dry zone of Sri Lanka.
Ladies and gentlemen, we thank the presence of the Honorable Minister Mahinda Amaravira, Minister of Agriculture and Plantation Industries, for gracing this occasion, but unfortunately he has to leave the venue for a short period. I'd like to draw your attention, ladies and gentlemen, to one thing. Please remember that the biggest threat to mankind and to our environment is the belief that someone else is going to save it for you. The farmers and the farming communities of the dry zone have been adapting to climate change and the effects related to climate change for a long while. But as fellow humans, we have a direct responsibility to help them, to help uplift these marginalized and vulnerable communities, because it is not just their livelihoods that are at stake, it is also our food security. World Vision Lanka is a leading humanitarian organization that is committed to serving the most vulnerable children and communities in Sri Lanka. With a rich history spanning over 46 years, they have been at the forefront of driving sustainable development initiatives that address the complex challenges faced by marginalized populations, such as the population under discussion here today, including those affected by poverty and environmental degradation. Lanka works closely with local communities, government agencies, NGOs, research institutions, and other stakeholders to implement a range of climate-smart agricultural practices. By empowering farmers to adopt sustainable and climate-resilient farming practices, they are not only enhancing livelihoods, but they're also contributing to broader efforts towards environmental conservation and climate mitigation. In conclusion, World Vision Lanka's commitment to climate-adaptive farming embodies the spirit of resilience, innovation, and community empowerment. My next invitation, therefore, is to Dr. Danan Senadivasha, the National Director of World Vision Lanka, to address the gathering.
Thank you, and good morning once again, ladies and gentlemen. I'm truly honored to stand before you on behalf of World Vision Lanka at this important dissemination event for the groundbreaking research study assessing climate change vulnerability and adaptive practices in Sri Lankan farming communities in the dry zone. Before we dive into the findings of this study, I wish to express my sincere gratitude to the Minister and the State Ministers who are here and the other esteemed guests who are gracing this occasion with your presence today. World Vision has long been committed to addressing the vulnerabilities caused by climate change, recognizing the heavy impact it has on communities around the world. Our dedication to this cause was prominently demonstrated through our active participation at COP28. In fact, in our delegation to COP28, we also included several children and youth from across the globe who served as powerful ambassadors and advocates for climate action. As the most vulnerable to the effects of a changing environment, their voices, the children's voices, resonate very deeply. World Vision believes that the witness and future of these children must be at the heart of planning and all decision-making processes, driving us to prioritize actions that ensure a sustainable and a resilient future for them. Through this forum, we had the opportunity to urge world leaders to adopt more ambitious actions, underscoring the vital importance of securing the future, particularly for the well-being of our children. At the local level, World Vision Lanka has also been actively engaged in participation-based research to comprehend the core challenges posed by climate change. The research study we are presenting today is a testament to our commitment to understanding and addressing the specific vulnerabilities faced by Sri Lankan farming communities in the dry zone. Furthermore, we are also currently collaborating with various state and private sector entities and experts to devise strategies for tackling this issue effectively. As we move forward, World Vision Lanka is keen on integrating these findings into our livelihood sector as well as our area programs. Our goal is not only to adapt to the changing climate, but also to empower communities to thrive in the face of these challenges, to overcome them. To achieve this, we are open to forging partnerships with like-minded organizations, government bodies, and other stakeholders who share our vision for a sustainable and resilient future. In closing, I invite you all to engage with us, explore possible collaborations, and join hands in making a lasting impact on the lives of those most affected by climate change. Together, we can build a world where communities are resilient, children are protected, and the environment is preserved for generations to come. So thank you once again for sharing your morning with us, and may God bless each and every one of you.
Thank you, Dr. Senathivaja. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to draw your attention to a factor that he mentioned in his speech. He said one of the biggest importances of today's event is the engagement that he wishes that we could have. The work that is done by think tanks, research institutes and universities across this country and maybe across the globe, all the research that is produced, disseminated at a national and global level, it's futile in the face of absent national and international policies. Every year, the bulk of the research that is produced at institutions, various institutions, it goes unnoticed except by maybe peers of said field. So it's important to have events such as the event today to create dialogue and, as Dr. Senathivaja mentioned, to engage. Because without dialogue, policy doesn't go forward. Without policies, all the research that goes into projects such as the one that has been disseminated today, it remains unutilized. And unutilized research is a waste of potential. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of the first section of today's event. There are refreshments that have been arranged for you outside at the foyer. We will return to proceedings at 30 minutes from now, ladies and gentlemen, which will be at 10:25. I invite all of you to partake in the refreshments and be back at the hall in 30 minutes. Thank you.